Good stuff. Right, over to you, Matt.
Well, firstly, we just want to welcome Peter Hanks, I believe it is, to Chippenham Town Football Club. Am I right?
I love that, Peter. I didn't know.
No, yeah.
Peter, middle name Hanksy.
Give my granddad a little shout out there. Yeah, named after my granddad. So Joseph Peter Hanks officially. So Oh,
good work. Saying you're 25, your birthday's in March on the 2nd. Is that right? 95?
Yeah, that's right. I think a few people question the 95 bit. I am only 25. Yeah, feels like I've been around a little bit longer than that, but 25 years young. That's me.
It's also a fantastic age, really, especially as we go through what we're talking about, and Cookie touch on it a bit more, be about player profiling and about where we want to be with players of age. Also, welcome Michael Everton Cook, known as Cookie, middle name Everton.
Thank you. No, I want to come in on that player profiling bit because it's quite important for us, because it's not just the player that we're signing who is an excellent player, very talented, very gifted individual anyway, but he's a great lad to have around the changing room, and he's somebody that I think potentially could be a captain of the club. But he's one of those people that when we've worked with him in the past, he's always a good 7 out of 10 at the very bare minimum. So for what he brings to the table for us is an excellent signing, and he just fits all our criteria for player profiling for that sort of midfield position, really. Yeah.
No, that's good. And before we go on to a little bit more in-depth questions for you, Hanksy, Cookie, I just wanted to probably get a bit of an update on what you think the season's going to look like and when it's going to start. I know that you've had quite a few meetings with the PFA and got quite a good insight with obviously your boss Gordon Taylor and the hierarchy. What's your thoughts and when it's going to start and how it's going to look?
I don't think it's going to start in August. I think pre-season will probably start in August, and I don't think the season's going to start until September, October time, just purely because of the crowds situation. Nobody in non-league wants to kick off games without any crowds, because obviously, we need the income from the crowds and the attendance. So we're in a difficult situation with the coaching staff, because at this time of year, you'd normally be telling your players to rest up and make sure that they're, fighting fit for the start of pre-season. But you might be telling your players just to tick over with a few long jogs and a little bit of interval running and stuff like that, to just tick over and maybe do something once every 2 or 3 days. But you don't want to do too much too soon at this stage, because we don't want players getting burnt out towards sort of Christmas, January time, because it could be a situation, if they kick off later, the season could be shorter, so you could go with your games Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday for a few months, or the other option is to extend May a little bit and go into June of 2021. So staff and players have just got to be a little bit careful when we do actually go back to training. And it'd be handy if the league could let us know, because we're all in the dark at the moment.
Yeah. Going on that and touching on a little bit about playing behind closed doors, I managed to watch quite a lot of German football yesterday, and obviously Borussia Dortmund kicked off, and they were talking about the yellow wall, not the atmosphere not there. And it's quite imperative for us at our level that we do have fans and supporters. And I know there's many clubs, and obviously Neil Blackmore and John Applegate have been fantastic throughout this period, making sure that players' wages get to them. And I know it's pretty much with a furlough scheme with the contract players, it's a different kettle of fish, but I know plenty of clubs, non-contract players, that they got nothing. And obviously Neil and John have been working hard on the scenes to make sure that they got their money, which is fantastic. I know you wanted to, I know you've got something to say on it because we spoke about it before, Mike.
Yeah, I just think it's worth a big shout to them, because a lot of clubs that I've spoken to over this lockdown period, they haven't paid the non-contract players.
Yeah.
And it just says something about Neil Blackmore and John Applegate, about the kind of people that they are and the characters that they are. And it was one of the things that I said to Anksy, when we were talking, and I just said these people that are at this club, they're decent people, and they're people that you can trust, and they're nice and honest, and they want the best for Chippenham Town Football Club, and that is a real pleasure to work with somebody with those those priorities, those philosophies and values and beliefs, because you know where you are then when you're speaking to them. You know what you're going to be getting, and it was one of the very first things that Neil and John said to me, that when we went into lockdown, is the non-contract players will get paid. I just think it's commendable of the club to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. On this similar theme, have we got any, probably a personal question for me and probably Anksy and other players, is there any update on the ground or the development?
Yeah, the ground's kicking ahead. When I spoke to the chairman yesterday morning, he was actually up at the ground getting his hands dirty and putting some of the rubbish into the skip there. So that stand will be remodelled, and that will include a little bit more of a better facility for the whole club to use. But it will be, I think there's a new boardroom in there. There's probably a manager's office going in there, and there's just a room that you can entertain and maybe use a little bit more for meetings and things like that, basically.
Oh, good. That's good news. Going on to the more important thing, and that's players, because obviously that's why we're all here, is about the players. So I know, Anksy, that obviously I've only worked with you on a short period of time, but I know that you've worked with Cookie a little bit longer, and Hosky. I know you had offers from other clubs, because I speak to quite a few people. What made you choose to work again with Cookie and come to Chippenham?
Yeah, obviously Cookie phoned me up, and I've known Cookie quite a long time now, and he's always been brilliant with me, and I've always enjoyed myself. And for me, that's one of the main things, is obviously you want to be playing football and enjoying it. And obviously we worked with each other last year, and it worked out really well. And obviously he gets the best out of me, and when I'm enjoying it and getting on with Cookie like I do, I feel like you can phone him up and speak to him, and no problems, and you can voice your opinion to him. He'll give you his honest views back. So yeah, I've spoken to various different clubs, but for me, obviously, when I spoke to Cookie, it was sort of feels like the best fit for me, and I'm looking forward to it.
I didn't do the digging. I got Phil, the analysis guy, to do a bit more. But looking back at some of your clubs, and we talk about getting the best out of players, and when Cookie talks about player profiling, I think you got 11 goals in the season, and all 11 were under Cookie, and that was in that period that we had you from the start of the season. And I think it's like about 26, 27 goals in career total, nearly half of them come in that short period with Cookie. Why do you think that was?
I don't know. Every game I went out, I believed I was going to score. It was literally all the lads were joking, having a bit of a laugh with me. But literally every time I went onto the pitch, it was a question of when I was going to score, how many I was going to score. So just having that belief every week when you go out there and making the chances, and obviously putting them away is obviously the main thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it every game going out there. And obviously we were picking up good results at the same time. So it's been good for everyone.
And then letting the supporters know, just in your words, what do you feel your best position, or where do you usually play? Because 11 goals, they're probably thinking that we've just signed a striker, but that's not true, is it?
No, Cookie, I think, has played me everywhere in midfield. Obviously, I like to get forward and join in with the attacks and create and score as many as I can. But obviously, I know that it's not as easy as that, especially at this level. You've got to get stuck in and do the ugly side of the game as well, winning your headers, winning your battles at the other end of the pitch. So I know I'm not here just to score goals. I'm here to protect the other end of the pitch as well. So no, looking forward to getting out there and hopefully scoring many more goals this season. But no, it's not going to be that easy, and know that I've got to do a job for the team going the other way.
Macca,
that's a good point.
It's just worth saying on that one as well, isn't it? Because even with the budget that we had at Anksy's previous club, we struggled sometimes to put a full quota of subs onto the subs bench, and we definitely struggled to have a second choice goalkeeper. So that might be the situation sometimes this year. And Hanksy has played in goal, actually, believe it or not, and he doesn't mind playing in goal. So if ever's the case where we are a little bit short, then it's good to know that he's very, very versatile, and he can help out in that department.
I can vouch he's a pretty good goalkeeper because I think in training he saved one of my shots once, so it can't be too bad. So, going on that as well, that's what Hanksy said, Cookie. He talks about joining in the attacks and how we attack as a team, and that have become apparent. And the fans at Chippenham and the supporters have been great, and they've seen some of that. But it's also the players like Callum Gunner, the likes of Luke Ross, the people that fill in areas, and I know Callum got forward quite a bit, but Rossi done quite that defensive duty. It's talking about balance, and can you talk about the balance of the squad, how important that is? When you first come in, we had a lot of centre forwards.
Yeah, I mean, again, Anksy can play anywhere in that midfield role. We've played him as the deep midfielder, and we've also played him as a right-sided and left-sided within that. But we just feel for him to give us the maximum from himself, I think that number 10 role, playing in the pockets, is ideal. Now, when you do have somebody like that, if we're going to play a 4-4-2 system, then the two wingers are going to push on, and that two centre forwards are gone as well. So sometimes you've got to attack with a 4 or a 5, and you've got to defend with a 5 or a 6. So it's very important the person who's at the top of the diamond, which would be Anksy, and probably the one at the bottom of the diamond could be Luke Russ, or it could be Callum Gunner, something like that. We've also at the moment we've kept players on like Jack Self, who I can see in that role as well. Also, Ryan Case can play defensively anywhere along the back four, and plus he can be that holding midfielder for us as well. So if we've got the balance right at both ends, defensively and attacking, then it makes it easier for you to use the wingers. So Alex Bray is, for example, said he's going to sign again for next year. And so whether he plays left or right wing, we've already got a winger there that is able to get forward a little bit more. So, but we'll be working on things in pre-season, and we'll be making sure that they all know their roles and responsibilities.
And I know that we've touched a little bit on Hanksy a little bit, but I know you've had other players phone you up, Cookie. What attracts Hanksy to you as an important part of what we're trying to achieve for next season?
I just think his overall game, really, and that when we don't just recruit people willy nilly, we are looking at their player profiling, and that that goes all the way from their age, whether they're 2-footed, which he is, to be fair. What does he bring to the table compared to the other players that we looked at? And you'd have to say that he brings a lot to the table. I personally think if he wanted to, he could still play Football League. So, and I think it's only because his job that he's in at the moment that, he probably isn't. So, yeah, for us, I think we've signed a Football League player.
Yeah. And going on to that, Anksy, just give everyone a little bit of an insight of where you started your career. Can you not hear?
I can't hear.
Okay. What was the question? Yeah, so Anksy, bit of a technical issue. Just because you see people on Sky Sports wearing AirPods, you don't have to do it on air. You can just be normal with us.
Yeah.
We're just normal people, right? You don't have to look flash.
No,
a bit of an insight to some of the fans and other players, just a bit of your background of where you've been and what brings you to where we are today.
Yeah, so I was at Cheltenham Town as a kid, so I was from secondary school really, so growing up, and that's where I think I first met Cookie when we were scholars. I did my coaching badges, so that's when I first came across Cookie when I was a teenager. And from Cheltenham, I went on loan a few times there. I think I went down to Bishop's Cleeve when I was still in my early on in my days there, and then went to Gloucester a couple of times on loan.
Yeah, I think you're obviously a little bit being modest there. Obviously, some of it you made your debut quite early, coming on for Sam Deering at an early age. One a young lad to come on, which was good. Was that under Mark Yates?
So under Mark Yates, I think it was Exeter at home. We come on 1-3-0 at home. So I think I don't know how old I was at the time, but I was only a little kid really coming on. So it was a good experience, and obviously from that I went and played quite a bit of men's football, and then obviously went back there and played a little bit in League Two. So that was obviously a good experience at the time.
Yeah, that's spot on. Well, like we say, like we're hoping to get the best out of you again for another season next year, where we can see us being successful and scoring goals. Just to give another point, because we have got busy lifestyles, just to let the people know what you do away from football.
So yeah, I'm a police officer in Gloucestershire. So I am at the minute. Actually, I've got a little polo shirt on. I've got my uniform underneath. But so yeah, something like that. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, no. Obviously, I've been in the job now about 3 years. So when I left Cheltenham at 21, I thought, you know what, I need to sort of, there's a life after football, and I need to get a career behind myself. So made the decision to join the police, and obviously been working that quite well with what I was previously, and obviously Cookie knows obviously my work situation. But yeah, obviously I've been here a little while now, and obviously enjoying it down in Stroud at work. So yeah, it's not too far.
And like obviously with the intense, like Cookie touched on it earlier about how the season's going to probably look with Tuesday, Saturday. I know when you were with us at Gloucester, your job and your bosses were really good with you regarding getting time off to play football as much as you can and changing shifts. I actually remember coming back from a game and seeing you working, and I was only just coming back from drinking a non-alcoholic drink in the clubhouse, and then seeing you on the way home working.
Yeah, no, they've been brilliant, to be fair, and everyone at work obviously understands that obviously football is what I love doing and enjoy it so much. So they've really looked after me. Obviously, I spoke to them when Cookie obviously got in contact about coming down to Chippenham, and they were all for it. They were really, really happy about it all. So yeah, it'd be much the same. Obviously, they look after me, so I look after them at the same time. So sometimes after a game, I might have to shoot straight off. It's not ignoring the fans or anything like that. It's just I've got other commitments. So yeah, work have been brilliant with it. They're fully aware about the situation and all for it. So no, pretty good.
And obviously, Macca, you and I live quite near to Stroud as well, and we just feel so much more secure when we know that Ainsley is patrolling the streets of Stroud. It's like that old thing, the streets of San Francisco. It's very similar, Stroud, San Francisco. Right, we're going to wrap this up soon, mate.
Yeah, just one last question for you both, and I think it's as we've said, we know a little bit about what we're working with this year, and we're obviously chatting to a lot of players currently, and some that will be announced later on down the line once everything's agreed. But what's your aspirations for this season, Cookie? To you first, what do you want to see from this season?
On a personal note, I think it would be a brilliant achievement if we could get into the top 10, because we've had the budget reduced by £1,500, which we're all party to, and we're all in line with. That's not a problem. They've got to fund the new stand remodelling, and they've got obviously issues with the COVID-19. So the budget has had to get reduced, and we've got no problem with that at the moment. So we've got to be realistic in what we want. We're not going to be like the big clubs and be able to thrash out thousands of pounds for players and anything like that. But I'd like to think with some coaching and some of the players that we've got targeted to come in, I would really, really love us to get into that top 10. And funny enough, as we were getting towards the back end of this season, we went on a little bit of a run. I think we ended up at 12th. And, if we could have possibly got into that top 10, then who knows, what can happen then as well going forward in the future. So this year is going to be very much gearing towards building a team that we can continually and consistently challenge for a top 10 space. And then hopefully we would look to kick on then once we've accumulated the 4 or 5 players that I'm hoping to get over the next few months. Then next season we'll either do that in the season where we accumulate some more players, or we'll have to wait to the end of the season to build again. So we have got a 3-year plan. The 3-year plan is to try and get into the conference if we possibly can, but we need to walk before we can run, and there's no denying that. There's no way around it. We're a small club who's probably punched above their weight as it is, even being in the league that we're in. So we've got to be mindful of that, and we've got to be mindful that obviously we've got a slightly smaller budget this year, but you know, we're all parties that we're all happy to go forward.
Yeah, it's manageable. It's something
Yeah.
you can deal with, which is great. What about you, Anthony? What any personal achievements you want to get out of this season?
Obviously, you want to do as well as you can for both myself and the team. Obviously, when you guys all went into Chippenham, we sort of kept an eye on that a little bit more and saw how well you guys did. And I know a few of the players up there already. Spoken to little bits of them, and you've got a good team. We've got a good team. So playing against you guys as well, it's been tough in the past. So. Look, you never know what can happen in a season. You put on a little run and you get a bit of momentum. You never know what might happen. So, look, we'll do our best. We'll certainly see what happens. And if we get into that top 10, you never know what happens after that, do you? So, it'll be good.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for your time today, Joseph.
No problem.
And we'll just send a message out, and Cookie does, to everybody around Chippenham, just to stay safe, stay well. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Macca. Cheers.